You don't need any more feminine energy. We're going to focus on how to strengthen our masculine energy today. If you are a woman who has struggled to say no, if you're a woman who struggles to set boundaries, if you're a woman who has struggled to hold yourself accountable, if you're also a woman who doesn't yet know their worth, who doesn't yet know their purpose, who doesn't yet know their role on this planet as a woman, then DNA gatekeeping is for you. Hello, my name is Temi, and welcome to the Timeline. It is my mission to help women step into their highest timeline. So what is DNA gatekeeping? Because DNA gatekeeping is what women need to protect their sexual energy. Today we're talking about how to protect your sexual energy. And DNA gatekeeping is a great concept that helps you step into the mindset to actually protect your sexual energy. So what is DNA gatekeeping and what is becoming a DNA gatekeeping woman? So a DNA gatekeeping woman is a woman who understands her role, her purpose, and her responsibility on this planet to ensure that she is creating the best life for herself and the future generations that are going to come from her womb. So that is what being a DNA gatekeeper is. This is how you step into the identity of also protecting your sexual energy. So today we're going to talk about the practical tips on how you can actually protect your sexual energy as a woman. So I have a DNA gatekeeping playlist that I'm going to link down below, and I also have a DNA gatekeeping video. That was the video that went into great detail on how to become a DNA gatekeeper in terms of what it actually represents, what the idea actually represents. So that video is going to be linked down below. I'm not going to show the whole analogy. I'm only going to show you the part that we're actually responsible for, because in the video linked down below that explains the full DNA gatekeeping analogy, God is also involved in it, but right now we're talking about our personal responsibility as women, not the responsibility of God in the whole scenario. So I've just drawn a gate, and then I'm going to draw the DNA and draw the DNA gatekeeper at the gate. So there you have the gate, the DNA gatekeeper who's standing at the gate, and then the DNA behind the gate. I'm just going to draw another DNA so that we can see that there's lots of DNA behind the gate. Okay. So this was the DNA gatekeeping analogy that I presented in the last video. But now we're getting into how to actually be a DNA gatekeeper, how to actually protect your sexual energy, how to actually protect the DNA that is coming from your womb. So DNA gatekeeping involves you as the woman understanding that you are the gatekeeper and you are also the gate. Obviously, women, through women, life is born. We are the portal through which DNA comes, because obviously DNA is the fundamentals of human life. It starts with DNA. The egg and the sperm come together, it creates DNA, and then DNA is the fundamentals of life. Right now, as I'm standing here, at a fundamental level, it's DNA. So women are the gates through which DNA comes through. And we also have a role of being a DNA gatekeeper to ensure that the DNA that comes through us is the best possible it can be, and ensuring that it has the best possible resources to thrive and excel in life. Also, this DNA gatekeeper protects us as women ourselves, because if we allow someone to get into the gate who isn't worthy, who hasn't done their inner work, who is potentially a predator, we are opening ourselves up to danger as well as our future generations. So this is why we have to step into the identity of being a DNA gatekeeper. The identity of being a DNA gatekeeper is about standing at the gate to protect yourself, which is your gate, and protect your future generations. So notice I said the word protect. Protect is the masculine. So when we look at feminine and masculine energetics, the masculine is the one who provides and protects. The feminine is the one that nurtures and creates. So practical steps to actually being a DNA gatekeeper is to increase your masculine energy, the ability for you to actually protect yourself, your gate, and your DNA, the people that are going to come from your gate and from your womb. So the practical steps we're going to get into is how to increase your masculine energy, how to increase your ability to stand at the gate and protect. A lot of women, we assume that we don't need masculine energy. we feel like, okay, we need to be in our feminine, which we do need to be in our feminine most of the time. But for you to really be in your feminine, you need to strengthen your masculine. So being a DNA gatekeeper involves strengthening your ability to provide and protect yourself. And that's it. If you're watching this video right now, you're probably a woman who you don't need any more feminine energy. You're probably a feminine energy woman. You're open, you're receptive, and maybe you've struggled in the past with saying no, setting boundaries, with protecting yourself, your masculine energy. You've been struggling with that, so we're gonna focus on how to strengthen our masculine energy today, so we can actually stand at the gate and protect. Your feminine energy is probably very high, and your masculine energy is probably very low. Your masculine energy, your ability to stand at the gate, your ability to protect yourself, to provide for yourself, may be low. And this is what we need to work on. That helps you become a DNA gatekeeper. And your DNA gatekeeper becomes your masculine container. It protects. Just as a gate stops people from getting in, your container, your masculine energy is what protects you. Just as this gatekeeper protects, your masculine energy also protects. The 3 tips on exactly how to strengthen your masculine energy so you can stand at the gate. So you can be the DNA gatekeeper, and so that you can protect yourself, protect your sexual energy. Because essentially, this gate is your womb and the passage to your womb. It's just your whole sexual area is this gate, because that's where life comes from. So when we can be the DNA gatekeeper, we are actually protecting our sexual energy. So let's get into the 3 tips on how we're going to strengthen our masculine energy. So the first tip is to create structures and routines in your life and stick to them. The reason why this helps you to step into your masculine energy, if you create routines, create systems in your life, create structures in your life, and you stick to them, is you telling yourself that you're going to show up and stand at the gate. You've created a system and you're going to stay there and you're going to execute. So it's teaching your body that you can show up. And examples of this is you can create a skincare routine that you stick to, you create a fitness routine that you stick to, a hair care routine that you stick to, a beauty routine that you stick to. You create these systems in your life, like every Sunday could be a self-care Sunday. Sticking to this is masculine. It's masculine when you stick to the guidelines that you've set yourself. So you are creating a container that you now step into. And then normally the only time you would really deviate from this routine is if, for example, you have some life circumstances, you have an illness or something, then you can obviously take a break from your routine. But the key to building your masculine energy is creating systems, routines in your life and sticking to them, deciding that you're gonna really devote yourself to them. And this comes from less so discipline and more so devotion. So because you're gonna stick to this routine because you're devoted to your beauty, you're devoted to your health, you're devoted to your fitness. Because you're devoted to it, you stick with it. Devotion feels better for a woman where you're devoted to it, and that's why you show up and you stick to it every single time. You need to show up, you stick to what you've said you're gonna do. So again, when you set these systems, when you stand up and you show up and you have these systems in place and you stick to them, it's now letting your body know that I show up for myself. I can stand at the gate. I can be the DNA gatekeeper. I can stand and show up for myself. So when the time comes where somebody wants to enter your gate and potentially enter into your sacred sexual space, you can show up for yourself because you show up for yourself in multiple aspects of life. So when you can show up for yourself in one aspect of life, you're able to transfer that to multiple aspects of your life. So you need to pick one area of your life, start showing up. Your fitness routine, you show up every single time you say you're going to show up, you are there. Then you build on that. You extend that to all aspects of your life. Then it's obviously going to show up when you're protecting your sexual energy, because now you know you show up for yourself in all aspects of life. Now you're going to also show up for yourself when it comes to protecting your sexual energy. And an important part of this is when the masculine shows up, the feminine can feel safe. So when your masculine DNA gatekeeper shows up, your gate can feel safe. Your DNA can feel safe. You can feel safe as a woman. So showing up is your responsibility so that you can feel safe. That's tip number 1. Create systems, structures, routines in your life that you need to show up for, so you're teaching yourself to show up. to stand at the gate, to protect yourself. You're building the structures, the internal structures required to actually protect yourself, because it requires a bit of masculine structuring and a bit of masculine energy to really protect. An affirmation that we can use to further step into this identity is, I show up for myself. I show up for me. So we can say that affirmation to kind of help ourselves get into this as we're picking areas of our life that we're going to start executing routines in, creating systems in. You remind yourself, I show up for me. Those days you don't want to show up, I show up for me. Those days where you're tired and you've had a long day, but you still need to get that workout in, I show up for me, I show up for myself. Remind yourself, stepping into the masculine that sometimes is required for building up the structures it needs to be the DNA gatekeeper, to protect your sexual energy. You need to protect your energy in multiple aspects of life by setting a container that you must fit into. So even when you just don't want to do anything, you already have that container, you already have that gate. It's like the gate, but it's in other aspects of life. So you have that container. Now, when you have that container, you don't want to show up, but you have to, you need to step in. So that is step number 1, which is creating structures and routines in your life and sticking to them. The second tip on how we're going to strengthen and protect our sexual energy and strengthen our masculine energy, because they're linked, is becoming self-led. So again, we're going to link this back to being a DNA gatekeeper, standing at the gate to protect your womb and protect the DNA that's going to come through your womb. If you're not self-led, anybody can come through and lead you astray. This person comes along, says, hey, come with me, come with me. You leave, you both go, you've left the gate. Now the gate is open and someone can get in. So this is why you have to be self-led as a person. We're going to get into the practical tips on how to become more self-led, but it's really important to be self-led as a person. Normally as women, we've been conditioned to always look to other people to help us make decisions in life, look to other people to help us decide what we want to do. When sometimes we have to make our own decisions and we can't be too swayed by what other people always want us to do. We have to stand at the gate and be self-led. For example, let's link back to this scenario again. If somebody is at the gate of your energy, your sexual energy, your womb space, and they want to get in, because you're self-led, you take time to think, is this what I want to do? No, this is not what I want to do. Now you can stand at the gate, you reject them, you say no, and then they have no choice but to go. Because you're self-led, you've made the decision, and for that reason you can't be led astray. Your DNA gatekeeper can't be led away. It stands strong because it's self-led. It leads itself. It's not waiting to be led. It's not any other masculine energy can't just come into the space and lead you astray and get access. It's okay to be led by other people. I want to make that a point. It's okay to be led by other people as well, but you need your own ability to be self-led. And this comes through making your own decisions in life as well, not just relying on other people to make decisions for you, or always needing someone else to validate your decision, or always needing someone, like you're always asking for advice. You can't just make a decision by yourself. You need to ask for help. You need to call somebody. Somebody else needs to co-sign it. You have to learn to make decisions by yourself and for the best interest of yourself. So if you're an indecisive person, you struggle to make decisions, you struggle to stand on your word, this is a really good one for you, being self-led, because it helps you to stick to what you want to do, to decide what you want to do and move forward with it. So the practical tip on how to be self-led is, the next time you need to make a decision, don't ask anybody before you make that decision. Take your time, sit with yourself, make that decision and move forward. Obviously, if it's a team event, if it's a decision you need to make with your partner, if it's a decision you need to make with other people, then you can always make it with them. But first, you need to make a decision for yourself first. What do I want to do in this situation? Then, after you have made a decision, you've led yourself to where you would like to go. You can speak to other people about it, but you still have already decided in yourself. that links to this, because you've already decided that you're going to be a DNA gatekeeper. Someone else comes and they want to be your gatekeeper for you. You don't know their intentions. You need to be self-led enough to be able to stand and then see what the other person's going to do. So I'm just going to repeat the practical tip here on how to be self-led. From now on, when you start making decisions, make sure you have a decision you've already made with yourself first. Even if you are going to make decisions with other people, have a decision that you want to make. When you're married or you're in partnership, there's going to be a bit of compromise involved sometimes. But it's very important that you have an area of your life that you have complete autonomy over. And find that area of your life that you have complete autonomy over, and make sure that you don't outsource your decision making. Work on not outsourcing your decision making. Sit down with yourself, make a decision, and once you've decided this is where I'm going, you stick to it, and you're like, okay, I've made this decision now. I'm self-led. This is where I'm gonna go. I am self-led. That's the affirmation you can start saying to yourself whenever you feel tempted to ask someone else for advice. You feel tempted to outsource your decision making. You say, hold on, I'm self-led. I am self-led. I am self-led. Then you can sit down with yourself and make that decision. Then you can ask other people afterwards, and then you can compare your decision to their decision and come out with a decision after that. But you first need to have something within yourself. Being self-led is really important, because it's too easy for you to be led astray, as I mentioned, as I gave that analogy. If you want to protect your sexual energy, you're going to need to not be led astray, because your DNA gatekeeper needs to stand at the gate and actually protect. And if you're not self-led enough to know that you need to stand in one place and protect your sexual energy, then you're easily going to be led astray. You're easily going to be self-led out, well, not self-led, you're easily going to be led away from where you need to protect. And that's where your gate is open, and now you can be taken advantage of by said person. You know, once this person has led your DNA gatekeeper astray, now this person can take over and become the leader. This is only okay if this is someone who you're happy for them to be the leader, for them to access the gate. This is only feasible for those people. This is only okay in that situation. And obviously in that situation, it would be you're co-signing with this person. So you would still be here, of course, and you'd be, going through this together. So that's why it's really important to be self-led as a person. This is what happens when women get taken advantage of. They get lured in by a man. Next thing you know, they've left where they should be protecting themselves. They've left the place they're meant to be. And now someone else has access because they've left. And this comes down to making decisions. So start making decisions today, no matter how small, and only make them with yourself. So you're teaching yourself that you don't need to let someone else come in and take over. You're okay to make your own decisions and just be you standing there at the gate. You're okay for that to be the case. Other people can come through, but you still can stand. Other people can try to enter your gate to, infiltrate your sexual energy, but you can stand because you are self-led. And this is a muscle. You have to build it. You start with small decisions, you work your way up to big decisions, you build the strength. This DNA gatekeeper, so at the beginning, she might be a bit weak. The masculine energy is a bit weak. We build it up with time. Every day you need to build it up. So every day you could say, okay, I'm going to make a decision today and I'm going to consult no one. I'm just going to decide and move with it. That's how you do it. That's how you become self-led. This one is really important, especially with protecting your sexual energy. You need to be self-led. You need to be able to stand at the gate and not be led astray. Because this is the one that really affects women a lot. When you just surrender, you surrender so quickly when in a man's presence, which men need to work for that. You can't just surrender to them. You surrendered. DNA Gatekeeper gone. Sexual energy open. Gate open. Easy access. There you go. So make sure that the gatekeeper is there. You are self-led. And being self-led also comes with knowing your values and using that to guide you as well. So if you have values where I'm not going to have sex till I'm married, I'm saving myself for my husband, then those values need to be infiltrated into the DNA Gatekeeper so she knows to stand on guard. Because there will be people who potentially are going to come through, they're going to be like, oh, it's okay. You don't have to hold yourself till marriage. You don't have to. Like, no one else does that. Why are you doing that? No one else is keeping themselves. No one else is doing what you're doing. Why are you doing it? People can start pushing against your DNA Gatekeeper. But if she has strong values, that helps as well. So being self-led comes with making decisions by yourself, holding them, making decisions without outsourcing your decision making. It helps you to stand, and knowing what your values are in life. So you can take time to sit down and say, what are my values in life? What do I really stand for? Because then it helps your DNA Gatekeeper to actually stand, because you know what you stand for. Then people can't shake you when you know what you stand for. So, and when you know what you stand for, you can stand and be self-led. And the beautiful thing about being able to stand for something, you can now lead others because you actually are standing on your own 2 feet. This is why women always get led astray, because they're not yet standing on their own 2 feet. They haven't established their own boundaries. They don't know exactly what they want to do with their life. So other people just lead them astray. Off you pop and you're out of there because you don't know what your values are. You haven't really taken time to journal out, what are my values in life? What do I really want to do with this life that I have? And then you make your decisions in alignment with that. And as you make your decisions in alignment with that, you're now standing at the gate, being the DNA Gatekeeper, protecting your sexual energy. So this one was, again, the affirmation for this one was, I am self-led. I can stand at the gate because I am self-led. I'm not easily led astray because I am self-led. I protect my sexual energy, and I protect my sexual energy because I am self-led. Okay? And my values help me to stand when other people are trying to sway me and make me follow their lead instead of following my own lead. So being self-led is really, really key. So the third tip to increase your masculine energy, to increase your ability to be a DNA gatekeeper, to increase your ability to stand at the gate, be the DNA gatekeeper, protect your womb, protect your sexual energy, protect your DNA that's going to come through you, is take accountability and responsibility for everything in your life. So masculine energy is all about accountability and responsibility. These are 2 very strong masculine traits: accountability, responsibility. And once you take accountability, now you can become responsible. Now you can take responsibility. For example, linking back to the DNA Gatekeeper. Once the DNA Gatekeeper takes accountability for her role in her life, at the end of the day, if you have a womb, it is your role to protect the womb. Your dad, the male figures in your life, can only do it for so long, because there's going to be a time where you're by yourself. You have to take accountability for the fact that this is your role to stand at the gate, to be the DNA Gatekeeper. Accountability. Responsibility. Because you are now accountable for the gate, you are now responsible for the DNA and for yourself. This is something that we as women need to sit down with a lot. Accountability and responsibility. Sometimes we haven't been taught this, that we need to take accountability and responsibility for everything in our lives, and we can't outsource that. For example, my own personal life, as I mentioned in my previous video about DNA gatekeeping, I didn't know I needed to be a DNA gatekeeper And that's why I had a child outside of wedlock. So I was not accountable for my life at that point. Not to the level that I should have been. I was not accountable for my DNA and for my womb and for my sexual energy. I was not holding myself accountable. I easily allowed other people to lead me astray, linking back to the second one being self-led. I was very easily self-led because I didn't have a gatekeeper. I was not accountable for this aspect of my life, protecting my womb, and I was not responsible. I did not understand I needed to be responsible for my DNA and my womb and my sexual energy. So you are responsible for your womb. You are responsible for the DNA that's going to come from you. You're responsible for how your sexual energy is being used, whether it's being used by you or someone else. It's your responsibility. You have to step into the accountability of that. You're going to be held accountable for how you respond to protecting this. So we must take radical accountability for everything happening in our lives. Radical accountability. Your past mistakes, radical accountability. Anything you've been through that may have been something that you want to blame someone else, radical accountability. Take accountability for your contribution to it. That is how you step into the gatekeeper, because you realize my contribution to this was this. And because I had this contribution, now I can actually change it. Linking back to my situation, I had a child outside of wedlock because I did not know I needed to be the DNA gatekeeper. My gate was open, my womb was open. It was easy for people to access my sexual energy. But once I realized I am accountable and I'm responsible for my womb, I'm responsible for my sexual energy, I'm responsible for what happens to my life. Then I realized, because I am responsible, I'm taking radical accountability for my own life. Now I need to figure out how can I change this? What can I do? Then I became the DNA gatekeeper, stepped in to protect. When you realize you are accountable. Because when you are accountable, it puts you in the driver's seat. Now you can say, okay, this is what's happened to me in the past. How can I change so this doesn't happen again? What can I do? It puts you in the driver's seat. It puts you at a place where you can take control of your life. Accountability, responsibility. So what's a practical tip for actually being accountable and responsible? A good one for this is sit down with and journal all the things that have happened to you in your life, past and present, and also future. Take accountability for all of them, all the mistakes, all the shortcomings, all the things you did wrong, all the things you did right. Because we're not just looking at the wrong, we're also looking at the amazing things you've done. Take accountability for the good and the bad in your life. And then sit down and think, how can I responsibly move forward? How can I responsibly act in a better way in the future? Now you're taking accountability and you're acting responsibly. That's how you're doing it. And this starts with now. This starts now. Every single day from now on, you can take your time, today, tomorrow, whenever you have time, sit down, journal all the things you feel like you want to blame someone else for. Whatever you want to blame someone else for. No. Accountability, responsibility. Accountability, responsibility. Your sexual energy, protecting it, is down to you. You are responsible. At the end of the day, God is going to look at you and say, was this woman responsible? Was she a good steward? Was she held accountable for what I gave her? I gave her a womb full of energy that could create life. She didn't use it well. She didn't step in. She was not responsible. So we as women have a role to be responsible, and that starts with doing an inventory of your life. What right now are you too quick to blame someone else for? We all want to blame someone else. And responsibility comes with not reacting, but responding. Once you've taken accountability, okay, this is something that, I could have done better. I could have actually shown up here. I should have been accountable for this, taken this as mine. Now, you don't react from emotion, looking to blame someone else. You respond. How can I now be better? How can I now be in the driver's seat, stand at the gate, and do better next time? This starts with little things. All these stuff in this video, all these practical tips, they start with little things where you start taking accountability and responsibility in little things, you build it up. You start being self-led in little things, you build it up. You start creating routines in your life, systems in your life, you build it up. You're building up the strength of your DNA gatekeeper, the strength of your masculine energy, the strength of your ability to hold yourself accountable, responsible, be self-led, and stick to what you say, stick to what you need to do in life so you can show up for yourself. So all this comes with building and strengthening your masculine energy. But in essence, when it comes to protecting your sexual energy, it's masculine energy that you need. It's masculine energy that you need. Because the masculine is the one that protects and provides. Once you can step more into your masculine, protect and provide for you, for your sexual energy, your life is going to change. You're going to realize that I can be more in my feminine because my masculine energy is going to show up and protect. I can be safe. I feel safe with me, because this is why sometimes women don't feel safe in the world, because they haven't activated their masculine energy yet. They feel like the world is not safe, which sometimes to some extent there are areas where obviously you want to be smart. You don't want to be going to places that aren't safe, but generally you're going to feel less safe in the world when you haven't built up your masculine energy, the person who can protect you when things happen. This is how you become more safe in the world as a person. You feel safe in the world when you know that you can pull out your masculine energy and she's going to stand on guard. She's not going to be easily swayed. She is accountable. She's responsible. She's self-led. She's able to go that extra mile. Because things happen in this life. This life is full of many different things. There's different types of people in this world. And if you haven't built this masculine energy up, you're potentially at danger in this world. Thankfully, I'm sure God is protecting you, as I mentioned in the previous DNA gatekeeping video, which this analogy included God in it, where God is still protecting you always. But we still have our part to play, where we need to step in. We need to do our part and become DNA gatekeepers. So protecting your sexual energy is about being a DNA gatekeeper. And being a DNA gatekeeper comes with increasing your masculine energy, your ability to protect. Because that's essentially what DNA gatekeeping is, standing at the gate to protect. So when you can stand at the gate to protect, now you can protect your sexual energy. You can protect the womb space that carries so much wisdom, so much life, so much abundance, so much prosperity. You don't want to be just outsourcing the power in your womb out to everybody and anybody. You want to keep this and use this to build your own wealth, your own abundance, your own dream life, because you can. It's a beautiful thing. So that is how you're going to protect your sexual energy as a woman, by increasing your masculine energy. 3 tips for this was create routines and systems in your life. Become more self-led by making decisions on your own, and then taking accountability and responsibility for every single thing in your life. This is how you're going to increase your masculine energy, which is going to protect your sexual energy and help you also stand and step into the DNA gatekeeping woman who is able to protect her womb. Whatever you can do to strengthen your masculine energy, that is helping you step more into being a DNA gatekeeper, because in essence, it's all about protecting yourself. That's what being a DNA gatekeeper is, and also becoming the one. So there's multiple aspects of being a DNA gatekeeper. Protecting your sexual energy and protecting your womb, but also becoming the best version of yourself. Those are the 2 aspects of being a DNA gatekeeper. Because once you are the best version of yourself, you can then attract the best version of your mate, who you can procreate and create the best DNA. And protecting yourself helps you to actually scale your life and build yourself up to that point where you're at the highest version of yourself, and now you can attract that mate. But you don't want to let people be infiltrating and penetrating your sexual energy before you've reached where you want to get to, unless they're on the journey with you, and then that's obviously okay. But yes, thank you so much for watching this video. Leave your questions, your comments down below. I always love to hear from you. If there's more things you want me to share with regards to DNA gatekeeping, please let me know. I'm always open to learning more about the gaps that I can share with you for you to step more into this DNA gatekeeping role. Again, I really want you to watch the first video, which is 1 hour long, on how to be in a DNA gatekeeper, where I really explain this in a lot of detail. And I also go into a meditation at the end to help you step into the identity. Now this video is about doing more practical, what can we actually do in our everyday lives to move the needle forward, so we're building our masculine energy to protect ourselves and becoming the one. Because if you have routines in your life where you're upping your skincare, you're upping your beauty routine, you're upping your physical health and your fitness, you're actually becoming the one, and you're also building your masculine energy, which is your ability to protect yourself. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Follow your purpose, be a light in this world, and I'm sending you lots of love and peace.